In the last issue, mysterious otherworldly villain Hellgate left the wall crawler for dead. How will Peter Parker ever see fit to pick up the pieces? Well, let's hop into the pages of Amazing Spider-Man issue number 9 and find out together, shall we? So then, picking up a undeterminate but clearly very long amount of time after the end of the previous issue, we see classic Spider-Man foe, the Shocker, Herman Schultz, pulling off a daring daylight robbery. Here's the thing though, he's not alone for once, he's actually backed up by a whole gang calling themselves, get this, the AFTERSHOCKS. Okay, you know what, that is just the right amount of comic book silliness for me to really honestly get on board, and I'm just genuinely a sucker for Shocker anyway. Now, normally this would be right around the time where Spider-Man would swoop on in, beat these guys up, and save the day, right? Only here's the thing, as we see Peter, who is watching the crime from afar, he has no interest in getting involved. It's also made very obvious that Peter is still recovering from the beating he suffered at the hand of Hellgate, as his leg is in a boot. Yes, that's right everyone, 5 minutes has elapsed and we're doing this all over again with Peter not wanting to be Spider-Man. No, it's totally different than the last time Joe Kelly did this in 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. That time Peter wanted to quit being Spider-Man because he was so depressed. Now he wants to quit because he's so hurt and also really depressed. Look guys, if we just keep telling the same stories with Peter Parker over and over and over again, then surely one of these days we're gonna absolutely perfect it and hit it out of the park, right? Now, with all the extra time on his hands from not being a superhero, Peter has actually completely thrown himself into his work at Rand Industries, and surprise, surprise, it's actually starting to pay off dividends. Him and Brian have actually completed work on a brand new mushroom-based building system that they hope will be able to help cut the cost of housing all over the world, a noble goal to be sure, and Brian even goes out of his way to try and set Peter up with Astrid, another scientist who works with them. Though Peter says he's not interested because he's seeing someone right now, no doubt talking about Shay, but like, are you seeing each other right now? I was pretty sure it was only casual, and as we'll find out later in this issue, you're ghosting her again. Peter has been so absent in his work as Spider-Man, even Norman has no choice but to show up at work to talk with him, saying that their work is far from over. They still gotta find out who was trying to assassinate him back during the Free Comic Book Day issue and who exactly it was the Hobgoblin was working for, what with that whole tainted psychedelic soda storyline. Peter ends up blowing Norman off, and all I can think is, hey Norman, remember when you were the Gold Goblin and actually did stuff on your own? That was fun. Speaking of fun, Aunt May even gets a little aside this issue too with her brand new boyfriend Ricardo. We learned that his daughter actually fell into drugs and died, which means he wasn't being a jerk earlier when he was questioning May about Peter's weird behavior. He actually does care. Now, back with Shocker and the AFTERSHOCKS, you might be wondering who exactly has been funding Herman's brand new criminal enterprise right now. Well, surprise, surprise, it's none other than the Kingpin Tombstone. In fact, as we learn with Spider-Man AWOL right now, Shocker and his team are bringing in a ton of money for Tombstone. And he couldn't be happier. After all, it's a lot easier to try and threaten people into paying protection when there's actually something or someone out there to protect them from. Now, perhaps the biggest takeaway from this issue, the one that I know everyone was talking about before I even had the chance to read the book, is that a concerned MJ actually tries to talk with Peter at his apartment. Like everyone else, she's been trying to get in contact with him after his quote-unquote hit-and-run accident covering up his fight with Hellgate, but it seems that even MJ is just yet another person that Peter has gone 100% no contact with. MJ talks about how they're friends and how she always wants to be there to help, but that right now in this situation, we need help, meaning not only her, but also the Venom symbiote, which is currently bonded with her right now. Again, you would know all about it if you were reading the brand new Venom series. It's an Al Ewing book, so I promise it's a lot better than it might sound at face value. Oh, also, they don't bring it up in this story, but Mary Jane broke up with Paul over in the Venom book, which of course means that fans can now officially stop bringing that up at every opportunity and instead shift focus to asking at every opportunity when her and Peter are going to get back together. FYI, don't hold your breath, because just a few seconds later, Peter gets all huffy saying, I thought you were here because you wanted to get back together. Well, you know, it's nice to know despite everything written to the contrary about Peter being in a good place and moving on past his relationship with Mary Jane, he is still very much 100% being a child about this. Now, while all this is going on, at the other end of town, Dr. Shay goes out of her way to try and pump Randy Robertson for some explanations about why exactly Peter fell off off the face of the earth again. As Randy puts it, that's just Peter. He gets into these weird moods where he cuts everyone off. Gets all depressive and standoffish. He does it like multiple times a run. Now you'll get used to it. Shay is also starting to get suspicious about the whole, I got hit by a car story that Peter's been selling, so much to the point that it's implied that she looked into his medical records. Which, wow, that is a really unhealthy invasion of privacy there, Shay. Let's not think about that anymore, though, as at that very moment, Randy and Shay end up getting caught in the crossfire of the AFTERSHOCKS' latest attack, and with no Spider-Man to stop them. It's actually the young crime fighter, Captain Kintsugi, who we saw in the previous issue, who steps on in to try and save the day, and well, he doesn't do a good job of it. Well, you know what, at least they're keeping it consistent with this new character, that he's got a big heart but regularly bites off more than he can chew, thankfully, before he ends up getting completely overwhelmed. And mollywopped by Shocker's new gang, Spider-Man thankfully steps on in to save the day, saying that he feels a lot of pain right now, but that you can also share pain with other people. And so that was Amazing Spider-Man issue number 9, everybody, and despite the jokes here and there, I actually did end up liking this issue a lot more than the one that preceded it. For one, the art is better, and Joe Kelly actually does a much better job playing to his strengths, mainly incorporating a lot of Peter's supporting characters and giving them chances to breathe and get involved in the story again. Also, I don't know what it says about the strength of brand new Spider-Man villains like Hellgate, but I would much rather take a story about Shocker and his band of extra Shockers. It's also nice to see Peter succeeding at work for a change. I can't remember the last time that's actually been the case. Though, admittedly, to get there, he had to go on yet another depressive funk, and seriously, how many depressive funks is Peter going to have in quick succession? It really does feel like the Amazing Spider-Man book is just telling the same 2 or 3 stories over and over and over again. And yes, I know every comic is someone's first, etc., but if you can't find something new to say or some extra added dimension to reveal, then why do you keep going back to that well? Then, of course, we have the sore thumb that still keeps sticking out about Peter Parker and his love life. Hey, we moved heaven and earth to break him and Mary Jane up after Nick Spencer put them back together. Then that ran its course, and we gave people a married older Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe, and now we've broken Mary Jane up with Paul so we can keep that carrot on a stick, to hopefully keep enticing people to read with the promise that maybe one day they'll get back together, and then when they do, guess what? We'll break them up all over again. Seriously, it's like shit or get off the pot. I am just so tired and so drained I can barely actually muster up any enthusiasm for 616 Peter and MJ one way or another at this point. Overall, though, I would actually give this issue a 7 out of 10. It is a marked improvement from the last 2 issues, and I'm hoping it can keep this momentum moving forward.
Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow, and help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye bye.